Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Rebecca Adehill Show. I hope that you are having the most magical start to your week. Today, we are going to dive into all things selling. It seems to be a hot topic at the moment, especially amongst my clients, and I am diving deep into sales strategies with my clients at the moment, and I want to bring you some of that conversation as well because I feel like sales is a very overlooked topic unless you are working in sales and you are a real estate agent or you are a salesperson. It seems to kind of be the topic that sort of gets left behind a little bit. We focus a lot on offer creation and your business model and building your brand and on marketing. And then when it gets to sales, I often see that kind of falls a little bit flat. Now, my journey in sales is quite extensive, and I want to take you right back to when I was 16 years old. That is when I got my first job in sales. When I lived in Sweden, I went to dance school and I danced for 3 years, and I've danced my whole life, but I went to a professional dance school for 3 years. And after I'd finished dancing, I would go and work after school hours at an insurance company selling car insurance. Yeah, I did that. I was selling car insurance from the age of 16, and then I moved further up the company, and then I started to sell house insurance as well. And what I really learned, so when I stepped into this, like fresh 16, I had no idea about cars, about car insurance, about houses, about house insurance. And I had to sit after hours and just calling people, calling and trying to sell them car insurance. It did not take long until I was the top salesperson in my team. And I think I really have to thank my competitive side for that because I would not stop until I was at the top of that leaderboard. But what was really cool, and when I even look back on that journey and building up my confidence in selling, first of all, things I didn't know a lot about. And the first thing I really mastered was to get really knowledgeable in that specific area. And I think that comes with anything that we do. Your confidence really comes from getting the reps in and really building on your knowledge and on your expertise. So when you come to deliver, when you come to sell, that becomes really effortless because you are so embodied and you have so much knowledge in what you do. So that was my starting point in sales. And I just loved the whole getting commission and getting paid and doing really incredible things for my customers as well and getting them better deals. And that was my sort of first way into sales. And then after living in Australia for a couple of years, I then found myself a job in real estate, and I was selling $1 million properties all around the eastern suburbs in Sydney. And I worked with some of the best sales agents and also sales coaches that will come in and coach us on becoming better salespeople. And I remember being so nervous before every coaching session that we would have because we will sit in this big boardroom. I'll never forget this guy. He would walk in, just this muscly dude, and he always had this angry look on his face. He was the kindest person, but he was there to make us the best. Think like army style, but a salesperson. And he sort of walked in and he would sit down and we would sit around this big boardroom table, and he will start to go around in a circle, and we would have to pretty much sell, and we would role play in the office together, and we would role play, and he will criticize us and myself included in front of the whole team, and he will go, do it again. No, don't say that. No, that's an open-ended question. Do this, do that. And he trained us, and I remember, gosh, my anxiety was through the roof when before we had to go in, because he would basically criticize you in front of other people, but only so that we could actually get better. But the more we did it, and he would come in every week. And then I would pick up the phone and I will call the people that have come to open houses, and he will stand over me and he will listen into the call. And he goes, nah, you can do that better. I want you to say this next time. I want you to do that. Don't do that. Do that. I became quite resilient in that process simply because I had someone on my back 24/7 looking at me, making sure that I was performing at my absolute best. And in that process, we learned a lot of different sales strategies and techniques that I've really taken with me today as well, because regardless of what you sell, the philosophy around selling, it works the same in every single industry. When you understand the energetics of selling, when you have a really good sales strategy, and when you understand biopsychology and how you can really leverage that in your sales strategy, you will become the master of selling. That is sort of my little intro for today. So now I want to dive a little bit deeper, and I actually want to share with you my biggest icks when it comes to selling. If you have worked with me, you know that this is very true. And if you ever wanted to work with me, I just want to make it very clear what I will never, never, never teach you. So I'm going to start sharing some of my icks with you when it comes to running an online business. And number one, cold DMing people. I don't do it. I don't like it. I don't like when people do it to me. It's just something about it. And if you understand energetics of selling and masculine and feminine energy, if you cold DM someone, you pushes them right into their feminine, which means that is not an action taking energy. So I just don't do it, and I don't like it. I believe in the power of building connections and relationships and building genuine connections with people before you slide into their DMs. So that is probably like my first ick. And I recall I've had it happen to me so many times. And no doubt you listening to this right now, you would have had it many, many times as well. But I remember getting approached once by someone who claimed that she ran a feminine sales academy. Those weren't the exact words, but something along those lines. And I got a cold DM. You know what my reply was? My reply was, I was a little bit cheeky, but my reply was something along the lines of, I would love to offer you a 90-minute sales intensive on teaching you strategies around selling and energetics of selling, simply because if you run a feminine sales academy and you cold DM someone, that completely contradicts the energy of feminine selling. I'm just going to put that one there. So that's my ick number one. Ick number two is when you have a conversation back and forth with someone and then you are targeting their pain. You speak into their pain, you ask what's wrong, and then you go deeper on the problems that they currently have. When you create a trauma bond like that with potential clients, that will show up. If they ended up working with you, that will show up down the track. And because they will come into your space feeling like they are not whole. They will come in feeling like there is something to fix and you are the person to fix it. It is such a dangerous territory to play in because your potential clients will feel like they need fixing. And I like to do the opposite. I like to make my clients feel really empowered in the buying process. And I want them to feel whole. I want them to feel empowered and motivated and self-led so that when they make the decision to work with me, they know that that just amplifies them. That makes them even better. They step into a new frequency. And not that they are broken needing to be fixed. They're already whole, wanting to get even better. That is such a vibe. And I had another conversation where I reached out to a potential mentor. And he's over in the US and he's a really, really big mentor over there. His private mentoring rates are about $500,000 a year. And, he's one of the big guys over in the US. And I inquired to work privately with him. As we were going back and forth in conversation, he started to ask about my fears and what's holding me back and why am I not moving and da-da-da-da. He just went, and I said, actually, there's actually nothing wrong. I'm not scared. I just want to be held accountable with someone. I want to work with someone that really sees me, that can push me and guide me because I'm already doing really well, but I want to be held to a higher standard. And he kept going back to the pain. And I'm like, I need to call this guy out because I'm starting to get really frustrated right now. He just kept going deeper and deeper and deeper. So I asked him, I said, is targeting your potential clients' pain points a strategy of yours? Is that what you teach inside of your containers? Because if so, I'm not interested. he got so shaken up by my comment back to him. So he said, I have some time. Would you like to get on the phone so I can understand you better? I think this completely rattled him, that I could see through his sales approach and what he was trying to do. He wanted to get me right in the wound so that he can then bring me the solution and then sell me into his $500,000 program. And I said, yeah, sure, let's have a conversation. And this was like a Sunday morning. I remember because I was at home, I was sitting out on my deck drinking coffee, and he was like, yeah, I'm in the car, I can give you a call now, which is so not his normal way of operating. And he ended up calling me on my mobile. I gave him my mobile and he called me on my mobile, and he goes, I just really want to understand you better. What do you mean? And I said, well, I noticed the questions that you asked. I said, you went deeper and you were really searching for a level of pain, and you were searching for the wound so you can really target that. And we had this really powerful conversation back and forth for probably like a good hour. And I ended up not working with him, but we have stayed in contact ever since, because I think he felt that his approach simply wasn't aligned with mine. And I think now we're almost like on a friendship level more than anything, simply because I called him out on something that did not feel aligned for me. And also that really made him open up his eyes to a different approach perhaps, and a different way of selling. So I'm huge on that. And I see this happening in marketing. I see this happening in sales strategies, and I simply don't do it. Do not market to your clients' pains. They don't need to get reminded of what's wrong with them. You get to make them feel really good in the process, and you get to be super mindful in terms of the frequency in which they invest in. I think that's absolutely key. Another ick of mine is discounts and offering discounts to your potential clients. It's just a no-no. Number one, you are devaluing your services. You literally takes you out of your authority. It takes out the depth and the power of the container you are guiding them into, or the services that you provide. I don't discount my services, something that I don't do. And what I invite you to do instead is perhaps to add a bonus or add something additional, like an incentive for people to buy. But every time you discount, it's like when you go and buy something on a sale. If I buy something on a sale, automatically I don't feel as connected to the thing that I'm buying, even if it's clothes or, any like designer item. If I know that I've bought that on sale, it's just something that just feels like a bit flat about that whole experience, versus if I buy something at the full investment, I pay for it in full, I love it, the whole thing was an experience, it just has like a different level of depth to it. And I see it happening a lot, especially when clients want to get sales across the line. They often ask me, should I discount? And I say, it's not about the price. It's not about the price. And I just want to highlight this, it's not about the price. The reason why people decide not to work with you, and maybe they tell you that it's too much of a stretch or the investment is too high, it's because you haven't shown them enough value, or they don't see the return on investment for what you have to offer, or you have not shown what that tangible outcome is and they are not willing to make that a priority. So let's just go there for a second. If I charge $20,000 for a mastermind, but I would tell you that you can expect to 5x that investment within 6 months, it would be silly of you not to join. And also on that note, if you want to join my 1% mastermind, I now have opened the doors to another round. So make sure you send me a DM. Really important though that you are well established inside of your business. I want you to have absolute clarity on what you do, where you're going. And if you want a spot inside of my 1% mastermind, just send me a DM. Now, if I charge $20,000 for a mastermind, and then I tell you that you can expect, if you do the work, that you will get a 5x investment or return on investment on that. What an absolute no-brainer. Same for private mentoring rates. You can expect to 10x that. It's an absolute no-brainer. When you can actually, and it doesn't actually always have to be revenue, it can be any form of transformation. What is the value of that transformation? And if people can't see the value of that transformation, number one, you have not shown what that value is, or you have not been able to clearly articulate what that tangible transformation and outcome is in order for people to actually make that a priority. So that is a huge part as well. And my last ick is starting to coach people inside of your DMs before they paid. Hello, friend zoning your clients before they paid. I had a conversation, and I often do voice notes back and forth with potential clients before they buy. And I had this one potential client who I shared a few voice notes with. And it was really incredible because this person kept leaning in for more voice notes, and I felt a shift in energy. And I always have super clear boundaries when I feel like they want to get advice, they want me to convince them, they want to be told what to do. I draw the line so early on that I said, I am going to pop a bubble on this conversation. If you have any questions or if you need any more information before you make your decisions, you let me know, but I'm not going to entertain this conversation as you make up your mind, and I want this decision to be yours. And this person responded, oh my goodness, this is so cool to see you in your leadership. Thank you so much for having such clear boundaries. I know that this person wants to work with me more than ever now, simply because I did not continue this like lovey-dovey cute conversation to work with me. I was very clear on what I hold space for inside of my DMs and where I draw the line. And you need to be so clear on what that is, because once you start coaching people in your DMs and start to give them advice and tips and do this and do that, they will never pay you. Because now you have just gone from authority to friend zone. And if they can have this back and forth in DMs, you've just taken the whole excitement out of the picture of working with you. So that is another huge part as well. And if I can just add one more thing, actually, let me just add one more thing. That is holding space for people when they are in their decision-making process. Another super clear boundary of mine, when people are thinking about whether they want to work with you or not, don't hold space for them. Let them go, let them go, let them go. It is out of your control whether people want to work with you or not. If you have done everything that you can from a marketing standpoint, building that authority, providing the information, asking the right questions, you have done all that you can. That is when you get to lean out, energetics of selling. And when you lean out and go, I'm going to leave you with it, and then you keep moving, that will force your potential client to lean into their masculine energy because you are leaning out and into your feminine. If you are all in your masculine and holding space for them and you keep checking in and, hey, I just want to see if you had any further thoughts on X, Y, and Z, it doesn't work. Don't do it. Don't do it. If they wanted to work with you, they are smart enough to lead themselves to your inbox, to make contact with you, to reach out, to say, I would like clarity on X, Y, and Z. Can I still join? That's it. Let them be and let them come to you. They are my icks. And if you have any more icks, can you please share them with me on Instagram? I would just love to know if you have had any experiences that didn't feel good for you, or maybe you have made some mistakes and go, oh my gosh, I should not have done that, and now I had to pay for it later. Was there any red flags that you chose to ignore? And, just tell me if you've had any kind of funny sales experiences in the past that just made you cringe, not here for it. So now I want to share with you what I want you to do. Now we've shared the icks, we've got that out of the way. So now I want to share with you what I want you to do instead. So a couple of big yeses for me. Number one, I actually want to share a method with you that I have used for years, and it works over and over and over again. And that is my AAMG method. AAMG method. I have worked this method for so long, and it is the most effective sales strategy that I have ever used. What AAMG stands for? A is asking questions. What I mean by this, I see way too often when you have a potential client, and if you feel seen right now, I've got you, I see you, we've all done it, but now we're going to learn a new way. Someone has inquired to work with you, and all of a sudden you just write every single detail and you just take the biggest dump in their DMs. and you're like, here is all the information that you need, and you tell them everything in one message, you're basically writing them the biggest message. And what that will do to them, they will lean right out. And I can almost guarantee you, if someone said, hey, could you tell me a little bit about your program? And then you send them like half a book in a message to give them all the information, they're going to go, okay, that was great. See you later. And then they will ghost you. 9 times out of 10, they will ghost you simply because they are not feeling heard. They are not feeling seen. You haven't asked a single thing about them. You have not even found out enough about them, whether they're going to be a right fit or not. So instead of just like taking the biggest dump on them and going, here is all the information, I want you to pause and actually saying, absolutely, I'm more than happy to share the details with you, but let me ask you some questions so that I can understand you better first. Biggest thing, ask them questions about them. You are the one that is in charge of the conversation, not the potential client. If you want to be the authority and if you want to lead the conversation, you are the one that is in charge of that entire conversation. So I flip it. When they lean in and they ask me a question, I take control and I tell them how I want the conversation to work. Massive. And when you actually ask people about them, when you want to find out more about them so that you can guide them in the right direction, people love to talk about themselves. They love to be heard. They love to be seen. They love to tell you a little bit about what's going on. They will tell you everything. If I ask someone if they could give me a little bit of information, they will give me a lot of information simply because they feel heard for the first time in a very long time. So that is the first thing I want you to do. Ask them a question. The second thing is to analyze what they have just said. Like truly, if they send you a voice note back, I want you to listen. I often write it down. I write it down and I genuinely listen to what they have to say. I listen to the exact language that they use, what they are navigating right now, what problems they have, and what they are looking for. What solutions are they looking for? And only because I hear what problems they have, that does not mean that I'm going to highlight them. But it's still very important that I know what problems I'm solving for my potential clients. 2 completely different things. I still know all of the problems my clients have, yet I don't speak about them. I speak about the solution. They know the problems. I don't need to remind them of their problems. So me now, for instance, I get to bring you the solution on selling. I know that you have a problem with selling. I know that you give way too much information. I know that people often ghost you. I know that you verbally dump in DMs and then you get completely friend zoned. I know all of these things about you. I know that you kind of wing it when it comes to your sales strategy. And if you ever do sales call, you often go over time. Your clients start to cry and then you hold space for them. And then it's a whole shit show. And I know that to be very true. I don't need to remind you of that. I get to bring you the solution instead. And you're like, oh, wow, that is exactly what I need, right? So I want you to analyze in every specific detail what they say, what their problems are, what they are looking for, because what you get to do after is that you get to mirror what they just said. They will often bring up the problems and also what they want to do and the reason why they haven't done it yet. When you know that, you get to mirror the solution to the problems that they are facing. So you don't have to bring up the problems, you get to mirror the solution. So speak about the solutions, and I want you to use an active voice when you do that. And what that means is that an active voice is that we are going to do this first. The first thing that we are going to focus on is this, and then we're going to move on and focus on that. And I definitely don't want us to start in this end. I'd rather us starting in this end. So in my mind, I'm already working with you because I'm already showing you that I have the solution that you are looking for. And I choose to focus based on the information that you've given me. I've analyzed it, and then I'm mirroring what you've said with the solution. And I'm using an active voice whilst I do it. And then I would ask, does any of this resonate with you? Every single time they will say, oh my God, you've hit the nail on the head. That is exactly how I feel. Oh my goodness. You explained that better. That's exactly what I need. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Oh my goodness. I feel so seen. I feel so heard. Thank you so much. I am so excited. Please tell me more. Tell me the investment so I can jump in every single time. It's really easy. And then the last one is G, which is guiding them. You get to then guide them in the right direction depending on what problems they currently have. You've mirrored the solution and you get to guide them. So now you get to present them with a couple of different options that is going to be best suitable based on what they are currently navigating. You get to share the investment. I like to only give them a couple of options. And the reason for that is because number one, details kill conversion. If you give them too much detail, they will go in complete decision fatigue. They won't be able, there are too many things to choose from. Like, I don't like to have too many things. It's like, give me chocolate or give me vanilla. That's it. Like, I don't want all of the options because they will stand there all day and they would not have a clue what they should pick. So you get to step into leadership and authority here and go, the only two options that I'm suggesting for you right now is this space or that space. What feels better for you? Close question. I didn't ask, does that feel good? What feels better for you? That option or that option? They're going to go that option. Amazing. Would you like to pay in full or would you like a payment plan? And then I guide them in the right direction. And 9 times out of 10, oh my fucking God, I'm in. Send me the link. I'm in. Ching, 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 ching. That's it. Selling is so easy once you understand this. Once you use this method, once you understand energetics of selling, biopsychology, when you ask the right questions, when you can clearly provide a solution to the problems that they have, selling is a breeze. And when people want to have a think about it, as much as you don't hold space for people when they are in the decision-making process, you still get to leverage the objections that they came to you with when they share the information about what's going on for them and the problems that they have and where they want to get to. And then you give them the information and they're like, oh, I'm going to have a think about it. I have to talk with my husband. I have to talk with my wife. That's cool. In that moment, it's showtime. When people tell you that I have to have a think about it, they are watching you more than ever. And the last thing I want you to do then is to sit there and refresh your DMs. Oh my God, have they replied? Have they seen my message? Oh my God, should I follow up? When should I follow up? Should I just double check? Should I lean in again? What should I do? Should I offer them a discount? No. Nothing of that. All I want you to do is to leverage the objections in your marketing because they are watching you. When people are making up their mind, we're like, should I make this decision or not? Should I be in her space or not? They are watching you. They're the first ones to watch your story. They will watch you, but they won't say anything. When you lean right out, that is when they will lean in. Huge. And the more you stand in your power and you keep on moving and speaking into the solution you know they are looking for, they will drop in and say, send me the link, I'm in. Selling gets to be easy. It's one of my favorite topics to talk about because there is so much to learn. And once you learn this skill, please know that selling is a skill. The strategies that I teach inside of my programs, like that is a skill. Like we're talking strategy, we don't just wing it. And there is a reason why my clients have such great conversion rates because I've taken them through a process where they feel really good and empowered in the process. And also the potential clients that they serve, they also feel really good and empowered in the process. And when you actually learn to see beyond the words that they tell you, when you can actually start to read into the words and the objections that are coming your way, when you can learn to actually see past them, and understanding the deeper meaning of what they're actually telling you, then leverage that in your marketing before they have even asked the question. You are going to close sales every single day. I could speak about this topic forever because I think it's so much fun. I want all of you to fall in love with selling. It is one of my favorite things to do, and I could sell literally anything because I understand what people value. I understand the energetics of selling, biopsychology, what makes people move, and the whole conversation around it. And the difference between selling to a man and to a woman, there is so much that actually goes into it. So I really hope that you can start to, number one, start to implement the method, the AA AAMG method. I want you to start to give that a try. And I just know that you are going to have phenomenal results just by implementing that. I hope that you have loved today's show. I cannot wait to be back next week for another show.